Imagine this. You receive the email you have been waiting for. Your salary has increased by 25%. You feel proud. You promise yourself that this raise will finally help you build wealth. This time you will save more, invest more consistently, and move one step closer to your financial freedom number. 3 months later, your bank balance still looks almost the same. The coffee has become more expensive, the phone is newer, the apartment you have rented is bigger, weekend dinners have become a routine, subscription bills are quietly multiplying. Nothing really feels extravagant, yet somehow the raise has disappeared. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. One of the biggest reasons intelligent, hardworking professionals struggle to build wealth is not because they earn too little. It is because their lifestyle grows at almost exactly the same speed as their income. The invisible force has a name: lifestyle inflation. And once you understand it, you begin to see why wealth is less about income and more about behavior. For most of the human history, earning more meant surviving better. Extra food, safe shelter, better tools. Our brains evolved to convert additional resource into immediate improvements in comfort. The modern world still rewards that instinct with endlessly giving you opportunities to spend. Every salary increase unlocks a new category of consumption: better gadgets, better vacations, better restaurants, better cars. Social media constantly keeps telling you what's the next version of success looking like. The problem is not buying nice things. The problem is allowing every increase to income to permanently increase your baseline expenses. Behavioral economists describe this closely related to hedonic adaptation. Humans quietly become accustomed to improvements. The excitement fades, but the high cost remains. Think about your first salary. Many people remember feeling rich. Then that amount became normal. The next raise felt exciting for a few weeks before becoming normal too. Income keeps changing. Expectations change even faster. And that is why two people earning the same salary can have completely different financial futures. Imagine Rahul and Meera. Both receive annual raises. Rahul upgrades almost everything after each promotion. His rent increases, his car payment increases, his dining budget increases. Every improvement feels justified because his salary has also increased now, right? Meera celebrates promotions too. She upgrades selectively. She deliberates on how to allow the raise to become a part of her lifestyle spending. The remaining increase automatically flows into her long term investment. Neither of them feel deprived, but after 15 years, their balance sheets tell completely different story. Rahul owns expensive habits. Meera owns appreciating assets. Notice the difference was not intelligence, it was systems. History often gives many examples of people who misunderstood and or understood rather this principle long before personal finance became popular. One famous example comes from the legendary Warren Buffett. Despite becoming one of the world's most richest individuals, Buffett never spent a lot on buying any houses. He lived in the same house in Omaha that he had purchased in the 1950s. His success did not come from avoiding every luxury. It came from refusing to let status spending dominate his decisions. His wealth compounded because capital stayed invested. Compounding is often described as the eighth wonder of the world, but compounding only works on the money that remains invested. Money consumed today cannot be compounded tomorrow. This is where many salaried professionals unintentionally sabotage themselves. Consider an Indian example. Suppose you receive a paycheck of 20,000 rupees per month. You could spend that entire increase, or you could automatically invest half of it through a monthly SIP while enjoying the other half. Your lifestyle still improves, but your future also improves along with it. This simple split creates a gap between income growth and expense growth. The gap becomes wealth. Many people assume large fortunes are built through extraordinary investment returns. In reality, consistent saving behavior often matters more during the early decades. Research across behavioral finance repeatedly shows that automatic decisions outperform emotional decisions. When investments happen automatically after payday, discipline requires less willpower. When spending happens first and investing happens later, there is usually very little left. The order matters. Pay yourself first is not just a motivational advice, it is a design principle. Another psychology trap is comparison. Imagine two colleagues. One buys a luxury SUV, immediately a perfect functional car becomes inadequate. Nothing about your finances changed. Only the comparison changed. Humans naturally compare themselves with the nearby reference groups. Social media amplifies this effect because people display their purchases far more often than their balance sheets. You rarely see screenshots of emergency funds. You rarely see retirement portfolios. You mostly see vacations. The result is invisible pressure to spend. Stoic philosophers recognized this long before the smartphones existed. They argued that peace comes from controlling desires rather than endlessly expanding them. Applied to investing, the lesson is surprisingly practical. Every unnecessary expense creates two costs. The obvious cost is today's price, the hidden cost is decades of lost compounding. That expensive purchase is never only today's payment, it is also the future value that money could have created. This mental model changes how you evaluate spending. Instead of asking, can I afford this? Ask, what future opportunity am I exchanging for this? Something that can change my future. Am I exchanging this for a new iPhone? Memories, health, education, meaningful experiences, time with loved ones often deserve priority. The goal is not extreme frugality, the goal is intentional spending. Money should support your values, not your impulses. Another useful mental model is a raise rule. Whenever your salary increases, decide in advance how every additional rupee will be allocated. For example, 50% towards long term investments, 30% towards improving your lifestyle, and 20% go to the future goals or an emergency fund. The exact percentage matter less than making the decision before the money arrives. Pre commitment reduces emotional spending. This approach transforms raises from temporary excitement into practical financial progress. Let's return to Rahul and Meera. After 15 years, Rahul wonders why earning more never feel made me feel secure. Meera still enjoys promotions, holidays, and celebrations. The discovery is that the raise quality quietly purchased more freedom instead of only more consumption for Meera. Freedom is the real luxury, not because it impresses others, but because it gives you choices. Choices about work, choices about family, choices about health, about time. Financial independence is rarely built through one brilliant investment. It is usually built through thousands of ordinary decisions repeated consistently. The most successful investors often appear boring. They automate investing, they ignore short term noise, they allow compounding to work, and they resist upgrading every part of their life simply because income increased. So, here is one practical action for you to implement today. Open your salary account and calculate the increase from your most recent raise. Choose a fixed percentage of that increase, whatever feels realistic, and automate it into a long term investment plan before the next payday. It could be a simple index fund SIP that you would do into a Nifty 50. Do not wait for motivation. Build a system. From now, you probably will notice the reduced spending. Years from now, you almost certainly notice the accumulated wealth. Remember how the story began. You thought the next raise would finally make you wealthy. Now you know that the raises alone never create wealth. The gap between what you earn and what your lifestyle demands does. Protect that gap because that gap quietly becomes your future.